Good afternoon, madam. Hello. Good afternoon, madam.
Hey, Abhilash.
Hi, madam.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Awesome. I will share my content. Can you make me the presenter, please?
Done, madam.
Okay.
Yes, it's fine.
Fine, right?
Yes, madam. Hmm. The
Okay.
transition is also fine.
Awesome. We'll start at 3.
Okay, madam.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of Clay Preschools and Daycare, I extend a very warm welcome to each one of you. Today, we are connecting with each other for this webinar on keeping our little ones safe, more or less talking about online safety and developing the right kind of attitude and habits among children. I totally appreciate your presence here, and I would request you to wait for another minute or so. We do see numbers are increasing for the participants. Though we totally appreciate the concept of time shown by you, but request you to stay online for another minute or so. We'll start very soon. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Meghna Yadav, the presenter of the session today. Again, on behalf of Clay Preschools and Daycare, I extend a very warm welcome to each one of you. I hope I'll do justice to your investment of time and energy for this webinar. Thank you so much for coming on time. And I hope we will make this session as interactive as possible. So I request you to start typing your questions, your thoughts, your feedback about this webinar in the chat window. I will take up questions for sure at the end of this session that I'm going to present with you to you in coming few slides. Please do not hesitate in typing your questions. I will receive them through private chat, and I will try my best to answer the questions that are posed first come first serve basis, and I will request you to feel free to stop me in between if you want me to repeat anything or any concept that I'm sharing with you. Just to make you comfortable in sharing your feedback, your questions, I would like to introduce myself to each one of you. I am basically a child psychologist and family counselor working in this field for more than 2 decades now. And with my master's in child psychology, I have been associated with various preschool organizations and also working with various families basis my paper qualification. I always say that my paper qualification at one side and my real qualification on ground is actually coming through my two young children, a boy and a girl. And I also get chance to interact with many families on daily basis, parents or mothers or the fathers, for the growth and developmental aspects of children. And my research interest lies in parenting in new era. I have been associated with Clay Preschools and Daycare as a consultant because the very beautiful initiative of parent partnership is something that I totally enjoy while working at Clay. So Clay comes up with this beautiful initiative of staying associated with parents, and in the similar interest, these series of webinars are coming to you every single month. Basis the feedback received from parents and basis the whole concept of staying connected with parents even during this pandemic, we have created today's webinar, the session, where I am trying my best to bring the very basic concepts of keeping children online. All of us know that even though we have young children, but our children are attending online classes, getting exposure to virtual world, and as parents, it is our humble duty to keep them protected, at least educate them, make them aware about the certain dangers. And how do we do that in the right manner, especially for very young children? So today's age group more or less targeted for children under the age of 10. I would still share some practices that we use when we talk to teenagers and when we talk to preteens. I would say please park your questions over there so that I can explain you in depth, because keeping online safety of teenagers and preteens in mind is very different than preschoolers. So I'll try my best to give you more tips when I take up your questions. Please do not hesitate in putting your questions. The basis the age group of your child, I can help you more. So just to begin with, for today's session specifically, as I was mentioning, I was trying to gather as much facts and stats possible, though it's a huge list. Many reports are coming across globe, including from Indian parenting styles and what children are exposed to in past 1 year, especially in India. And then we are going to talk about developing certain habits among our children, family members, so that we ensure that our children are preparing themselves to stay safe. Please feel free to pick what works for your family. I am just sharing a very general aspect related to online safety of children. Um, I can probably help you more when I take up your questions. So when you are putting your questions, parents dear, in the chat window, please do mention the age group of the child and the gender of the child. That will help me in helping you a bit more if you mention the age group and the gender of the child. But in general, let me share some quick points with you, and then I will open it up for discussion. So the very first thing that I want you to take a look at is to understand that screen exposure is something which is very much here to stay. We hate it or we love it as parents. As I was saying in the beginning, I'm also a mother of two, a boy and girl. And I also face this worry at times, how much screen time, how much exposure, what is it that my child is doing? And I think more or less whenever I interact with parents, I hear these kind of questions about screen time, about exposure to children, how do I keep my child safe? And basis my interaction to close to 30 to 35 parents on daily basis, I have created this particular session because keeping those questions in mind and trying to get the right answers for those questions. But this is where we stand as of today. even for younger children, very young children, 3 to 6 year olds, we have seen a pattern that at least basic minimum, they are spending 6 hours a week on online stuff, like screen is given to children, at least 6 hours a week. And more or less the recent pattern, especially during pandemic, are highlighting that children are close to 15 to 20 hours a week on screen. And that is more or less because of the online content or online schooling, and also they watch certain shows, they have their own recreational time on a screen. But yes, this is very much here, you and me cannot deny it, right? Device use also, in terms of the device that is being used by preschoolers, young children, and also even older children, we have seen that the percentage of shared device means that this belongs to daddy or mommy, and I also use it sometimes. Like you must have seen parents giving mobile to the child. So the mobile is not belonging to the child, the mobile belongs to daddy or mommy, but the child is using it. So that's a shared device. Sometimes, especially even age group beyond 8 or so in India, we see a pattern that most of the children are now having their own device. The device belongs to them, like laptop or so. Nothing wrong or right about it. This is a simple data telling us the prevalence of a screen in children's lives, and we really need to be aware of it to begin our discussion on maintaining online safety for children. And I am sure the last point is not a surprise to you. More than half of the population of world is actually attending preschools through online sessions. This pandemic is very clearly giving us indication that virtual world is far more real than you and me can think. So this is the reality. And now amidst all this, we need to train our children for online safety. I know all of us are fighting the pandemic in our best capacities, but we need to train our children to remain safe online as well. So especially for parents of younger generation, I would say every teenage parent or every preteen parent comes to me and is concerned about online safety of children, the content that the child is watching, the inappropriate content or the appropriate content. I will share certain research findings for different age groups also in coming few slides, but especially those parents who have younger children, I would say for your child also, please understand that you need to keep your eyes and ears open. Online safety is equally important for preschoolers and as significant adults in their lives. We have to take all the precautions so that we give the best exposure when it comes to virtual world to our young children. Uh, the very first thing that we need to understand when we are talking about the virtual world is the screen time. I would like to spend some time on this slide that you see right now on your screens. As I am talking to you, my dear friends, the very first thing that I would say, and equally applicable to me, my family, my husband, my partner, I always say that it is very easy to talk about 100 things in terms of screen time, control on screen time to our children. But I have seen this happening in my home also. And in fact, various families I work with, like I was mentioning, 30 to 35 uh, parents I get to interact with. Most of the time, even when parents are saying children, hey, don't watch mobile, they are on their own mobiles. We have our own screen in our hands, and then we are giving gyan to our children, hey, don't watch, hey, it's unhealthy, control. said than done, but the very first thing that is coming out in various articles, even from UNICEF or WHO. In fact, I was recently reading something, report from UNICEF, that parents are concerned about screen exposure of children, but they are not realizing that they are glued to screen so much. So I know we all have our professional commitments to follow, like right now you and me are connecting through this screen, but we really need to be cautious enough that how much time are we spending in just browsing, or in fact sometimes simply wasting time on a screen. So check the gadget in your hands also, parents. It's okay to be on phone 100% of the active hours of your day. So check please your own consumption of devices. We all know that, but this is just a good reminder for all of us. In terms of talking about schooling and recreational screen time, I would request parents to understand that when your child is attending an online class or schooling sessions, please understand that it's a two-way communication. It is an educational use of a screen. Whereas when your child is watching a cartoon show or a show on the screen, this is more or less recreational, where most of the times, if not always, your child is uh, glued to the screen, but actually child is just having one-way communication. I mean to say, somebody is doing something on the screen, dancing, jumping, and the child is watching, sitting on the couch, sitting on a chair. And that recreational screen time is not two-way communication. It is not active participation from the child. And these two need to be understood very differently. So when your child is into schooling and online schooling, more or less it is found to be highly safe, because most of the schools across globe, and so is true in India as well, are using very safe platforms. So I'm not saying put a blind eye on schooling screen time, but I would heavily recommend you to focus heavily on recreational screen time, because most of the online safety hazards are found to be happening with children when they are more involved in recreational screen time rather than educational screen time. So keeping that in mind, we really need to segregate these two things in our minds as parents. One more thing that is coming out in various research nowadays is to have something which I am trying at my home also to adapt. I recently read these articles, so I thought I should share with you, is known as device-free zones at home. So a mobile with a cross, basically what you see in certain public places, very much like no smoking zones. So this is something was initiated in certain countries in Europe, and now moving on to various parts of the world. Device-free zones is like what I do when we are sitting on dining table, no screen around which is on, be it mobile, be it TV, be it a laptop, or someone is doing something. So probably my dining area is a device-free zone at my home. You can find these areas at home. If you have terrace, ask the family members to not use any device when you are close to nature, if you have some plants in balcony or in terrace. So this is helping most of the parents in not only giving some screen free time to children, but these areas will also help a lot in you keeping an eye what your child is watching, because that is something very important for you to take note of. I'm already getting some questions. Thank you for posting your thoughts right now. I would any day encourage that. Please give me some time. I will for sure take your questions. Let me discuss these few points that I have prepared for all of you, and I'll come back to your questions. Thank you for posting the questions, and thanks for being patient with me on that. The last point that I would say, parents, please note, there is a concept which is known as device in palm versus device on table. And this is what I wanted to share with you, because it is giving me great results when I work with parents. Device in hand, there is a clear-cut pattern coming out from various research studies. So device in hand is something what you see on the picture right now. Children are holding the device in hand. It is very much in the palm, tabs or mobiles, and I'm very closely watching it. This kind of scenario is found to be far more addictive than the device on table. So let's say TV, your child is watching Netflix or Amazon Prime or anything on TV, or using laptop or desktop. These are found to be better ways to give exposure to children when it comes to screen time, not only because you can watch, not only because you can check what's going on in the screen, but also because of the background noises. Like you must have heard the doorbell rang at my home just now, or somebody dropping a utensil in the kitchen, or somebody talking in the backdrop. These things, I would say, won't allow your child's brain to get glued to the screen, and it has given us great results in cutting down the screen addiction of children. So I would say, kindly move from device in palm or device in hand to device on table. This simple change, very small thing to do, but this simple change will help you a lot in maintaining the child's safety when it comes to exposure through screen. Few more points and I will take up your questions. Thank you, parents, for start posing your questions to me. Something very close to my heart, a very recent concept, more or less adopted through under this pandemic, is digital resilience. So if you have younger children, let's say between the age group of 2 to 10, and they are getting some kind of screen exposure, good way is and to develop healthy habits, safe habits of children, where you can maintain the safety. My friends, let's admit it, no matter how much you want to watch your children, no matter how much you want to uh, be watchful of what the child's exposure is when it comes to online programs, trust me, you cannot be present everywhere. And this is as true as the real world. When we send our children out to play with peers, when we send our children out to go in the school bus, when we send our children out to study in schools, trust me, we are actually allowing our children to get exposed to the outer world, and you cannot control the outer world much. And so is true for online or virtual world. You cannot control the outer world, the online world of your child. So how do you keep your children safe? By developing the digital resilience. So what is digital resilience? It is actually training your child that you have a sense of control, and only you can control what you will be watching on a screen or not. It is probably giving the right sanskar, the right values to your child, if I have to simplify it. But digital resilience is one thing, parents of our generation need to be very clear about. Probably our parents did not need it, because our childhood was not totally governed by www, but our children need it because their childhood is totally or more or less governed by this www. And as parents, it is our humble duty to keep ourselves informed about digital resilience. It is basically telling your child spending some time online versus spending all of the time online. So try to get into a good mix of, yes, I cannot say zero online exposure to you. That is unreal. I won't do this to you. But then let's have a mix, buddy. You need to go out to play. You need to go and have dinner in time, sleep in time. You need to have your meals. And when you are eating, you cannot watch anything. These certain guidelines given to children will help you a lot in developing the digital resilience in your children. Now, how do you do this? How do you bring this concept? My dear friends, the best way I can explain to you is how you taught your children the very basic skill of bicycling. So you start with the tricycle, and then you give them the training wheels on the bicycle. Then you train them, you run with them, and all of us must have done that. I remember these days when I was training my son. He's now in 2 digits, but long back I used to do that. So very much you are supporting your child or children to learn the concept of cycling, and one fine day you feel, yes, you have learned the art of cycling. Bye bye, my friend, you are on your own. Exactly the same pattern most of the psychologists, pediatricians across globe are highlighting, that exactly the same pattern you need to use. So when you are building digital resilience, tell your children the tripod concept, like three concepts, the control, the time concept, and the filtration, that you need to filter the content, you need to watch it for certain time. And when, even when you feel like, oh, I need to watch, control yourself. And these things you need to tell to your children to develop the digital resilience. This will help them later in not watching the inappropriate content when they enter into teenage. So we are heavily recommending parents to start early. As long as you give exposure of a screen to your child, give the concept of time to your child. Everything comes with time. This time you start, this time you stop. And this is how you give them the training wheels. You train them, you tame the brain of the child to say that, hey, buddy, everything has a time limit. And you need to control your wish. I know it's such a great thing to watch your favorite show, but you need to control it. Certain things like the daddy dear is helping this beautiful girl. The same thing I would say, watch some content with your child. I would heavily recommend you to do that, no matter how boring it is. I was one day watching a cartoon show with my son. There was a guy who was painting the town blue, and then another guy came and he was painting the town pink, and they were going around and around, and my son was laughing like crazy, and I was looking at him thinking, what is there to laugh at this? But trust me, not only it helped me in building a bond with my child, but I actually enjoyed. But at one point, I felt it's too boring. But if possible and whenever possible, given your busy schedules, parent, please try to watch certain content with your child so that you know what the child is up to. And when you feel confident, then only you can say, okay, buddy, bye bye. Now you are on your own in this world, which is more virtual than real. So this is the very basic concept of digital resilience. Please note, parents, that you need to do this again and again. Once or twice or once of discussion on dinner table about online safety will not suffice. So I would heavily recommend you or request you to take note of the concept of digital resilience and talk around it as much as possible. The second thing that I would like to you to take note of is actually digital diet. Very much you take care of the food and the balanced diet of your child, and you know the food pyramid that we talk about. This is a healthy app pyramid for your perusal, parents. So please note that, of course, the child will be spending a lot of time in education related or school related things, which is very fine, which is the normal pattern that we see. Very much like you spend a lot of time on screen because of your work. So yes, that is perfectly fine. Even music is something that is heavily used for online functioning, and we really see these two aspects, education, music, or other very basic useful things like searching. Children and adults both are using it a lot, but as you grow and as you go up, you please take note that we need to train our children about this pyramid, where when it comes to entertainment, recreation, or when they enter into teens, the time spent on social media has to be far, far less than time spent for education. So this pyramid will help you understand a lot about the total concept of digital diet, which is healthy diet. Now, how do you bring this as a parent? I would say, please, parents, understand the significance of digital diet, because um, I would say it not only healthy diet will help you to keep your body intact, but healthy digital diet will help you in keeping your brain intact. So how do you do this? And this is where I'm coming from. I hope this particular slide will give you a good idea about how do you determine the ideal digital diet for your child. And I would say, parents, please note the regular diet, the questions that you ask yourself as mommy and daddy to develop a physically, socially, emotionally healthy child. The same way, you need to have certain questions given to yourself to have a child who is doing digitally safe, who is running an environment which is digitally safe for him or her. So certain questions I have created for you, like what kind of websites are healthy for my child, how much time in a screen is consumed per day, what are the preferred apps or shows that my child's friends are watching, how many breaks my child need. I will give you one quick thing, like basis this. I was working with few set of parents when I was training them for this ideal digital diet chart. And I just told them that even when your child is taking breaks, in these breaks, small breaks, even for 5 minutes, ask them to stretch themselves. So when the brain is not glued to the screen, is not getting addictive to a screen, that's when children are found to be less getting involved in digital dangers, in inappropriate content. So taking breaks across globe has given us a great way to not taking the child to the level where the child is watching something totally crap on a screen, or not getting involved in any inappropriate content on a screen. So having breaks is wonderful. And during the break, I will tell you one quick thing that I trained these parents on, something we call as YTW. So even when I'm watching a screen, I hope you guys can see me. So Y is you take your both hands up, stand. So this is Y. You basically make Y from your body. Then T, stretch your hands out. You make a T from your body. Bring your hands forward again. And then W. You take your hands like this, and this gives a shape of W. This YTW exercise helps the brain to stay focused on rich content, on safe content, and avoid getting children to get involved in unsafe or addictive content. So I would really recommend you to find your own ways. I'm just giving you one example because it has given me good results with very young children. So even you have two breaks between the two classes or so, train your child about YTW. Y, bring it back. T, bring it back, and then make W, bring it back. And these things will help immensely to these young children to get into digital resilience and also a healthy digital diet. Now, the third and the most important thing, parents, preparing children for digital dangers when they enter into pre-teens or teens. There are many sets of books or resources available. I'm sharing some with you, which I have been using with children a lot. And you are more than welcome to accept or reject these points. But since I have used it on many parents and it has given me great results, I thought I should share with you. These are certain books. Some Kindle editions are also available in India, and some are directly, the hard copy is available on Amazon and any other book sites. So you can check. These books are helpful in giving you the right kind of exposure in terms of short stories about inappropriate content, preparing your children about good pictures, bad pictures. It's a wonderful book to talk about pornography. We do have for very young children, as quickly as you start the screen, why don't you talk about children on online safety? Because these books are wonderful in training your children about online safety. Once Upon a Time Online is talking about a fairyland and how the characters of fairyland learn the online safety. It's a great book to read with your child, and you can probably check some of these books and similar books that you find very useful to work with your child. But apart, when you are preparing for children for digital dangers and ultimately setting the right tone for them for future, there are certain points that are coming out, and I thought it's a good idea for you to be aware of these points. You can use these sentences in your conversations whenever possible with your children. And please do not hesitate in creating your own sentences that you should use when you are training your children for online safety, like people whom you don't know are strangers, and they are always uh, safe when you talk more about strangers on virtual world, or you give them very basic guidelines like please do not share your password, do not share your personal information with anyone else. This is just some guidelines to you parents. I know you must be having most of these intact at your home, but it is a very good idea to keep repeating and keep talking about it, because this is something that has to go in the child's ear as much as possible between 2 to 10 years of child's life. When children enter into 11th or 12th year of life, they pretty much decide on their own, and they are very much involved in screen exposure. After that, if you try to tame or if you try to train them, it is going to be very difficult. So if you have young children, I would heavily recommend you to check on these points. And also, when your children are entering into 8 years or 12 years, there are certain points. I will probably share more details when I take up your questions. But cyberbullying or inappropriate content, these are the very basic things that you need to prepare your child for. The behavior on social media, posting pictures on Instagram, the blogs, vlogs, or the podcasts that your children are watching or listening to. I would really recommend you to start talking about these points after you celebrate the 7th birthday of your child. And then between 7th to 12th birthday of your child, you need to talk about these concepts as much as possible, and so that you are thorough in your preparation for digital resilience of your children. You should be confident enough that, yes, buddy, now you are ready, you can go on your own. Because parents, I would say again and again, no matter how much you try, when I work with the parents of teenage children, trust me, you cannot be much monitoring what they are doing. You really cannot. They actually don't like it if you sit on their head and see what they are doing on the screen. So the preparation has to be done before that, not after your child enters into teen. Then altogether a different ball game, and we really need to tackle it very differently. So my humble request, if you have young children, the preparation starts as soon as you give exposure when it comes to online safety. And it is very important to keep these concepts of digital resilience, digital diet, and preparation for digital dangers. These things you really need to keep in mind when you are going out and allowing your children to go online. I am opening now for your Q&A. So if you feel uncomfortable in asking your questions, you can write to us at parent.support@clayschools.com, a wonderful initiative by Clay. But I do see many questions coming to me right now. So I will actually take up your questions as much as possible. Okay, children below age of 8 years are dependent on parents. Not sure how will it help in online studies. What if parents cannot manage availability of time? Um, that's a very good question. You are very right, Daddy dear, in asking this question, that children under the age group of 8 need support. And we do see this pattern coming out, and I do get calls with many parents where they say that, hey, Meghna, I struggle big time in maintaining my work-life balance, especially under pandemic, because I have my work to do, and then I have my child, and I need to support him or her in the classes also. I think you have not mentioned the age of your child, but I will take this question specifically for children under age group of 8. Um, One thing that I will tell you, Clavin dear, and this is a pure research, is that children, when they begin online classes, and children, I'm more or less talking about 3 to 8 years, when they begin their online classes, there is a pattern that we've seen across globe, including India, that in the beginning, first 21 days, more or less, first 3 to 4 weeks, children are found to be restless. They are not sitting at one place and watching the screen. Children are found to be running around in here and there. They have more water breaks, more bio needs break. And also we do see a pattern that parents are getting exhausted, and parents are feeling that online classes are not worth it. Having said that, there is a pattern that is coming out that after fourth week, these things reduce drastically. Children are settling down themselves. Children are found to be sitting more for the screen, in front of the screen, after 4 weeks of online classes. And also parents are also now getting accustomed to or adjusted to this new need of staying a parent, as well as becoming a co-teacher with the teacher who is conducting the class online. So yes, it is challenging. I also face the same challenge, given my 2 children of attending online classes, and many more parents like you. But I would say, parent dear, first of all, give yourself 6 to 8 weeks of time, because the struggle is at its peak by second week, and it reduces by fourth or fifth week. Second thing that you need to do for your children, specifically between 6 to 8 years, is to train them for mute, unmute, leave the meeting, attend the meeting. These basic things, even children of 4 years or 5 years are learning and doing. And this will save a lot of energy from your end. So try this. It has given me great results with many parents. So I would say, please try that. It should help you. Once you train your children for basic functioning, they are very self-sufficient. They will really or rarely call you when they really need you. And one more thing that we have seen is the parent-school partnership. You really need to talk to the school when you have a struggle at home, and tell them that this is working for me, this is not working for me. So probably these PTMs and PTCs, where parents and teachers are connecting with each other, was present when children are going to real world for their education. I would say it is more important now to stay connected with your child's school. So daddy dear, please try that. This is basis on my experience with more than 500 parents in past 1 year. And that's why I'm saying this to you, that take baby steps. But yes, one thing that we need to remember as parents of our children, no matter what, no matter what, because of the significant brain development happening in first 8 years of life, we cannot compromise on the learning curve of the child, be it pandemic or no pandemic. Every child deserves the learning, and our job is to give the right kind of stimulation to the child's brain. So the learning curve has to continue, daddy dear. So no matter how much we are struggling as significant adults in their lives, we need to provide them the right kind of exposure. That's my humble request to each one of you. I hope I could help you a bit in getting your answer. uh, Kids wanted to have entertainment all time outdoor. Just a sec, I need to put my specs on. Outdoor activities have reduced a lot in comparison to our childhood time due to outdoor safety concerns. Very true, daddy dear. I feel the same. We as parents try to keep the child involved in different physical activities, but what could be done as community in this regard? Oh, people like you can make the change in the community. Thank you so much for asking this question, something very close to my heart. when I work with children and when I observe them for my clinical trials or for uh, anything that I want to understand from a child's perspective, and when I observe children in groups, basis that I will answer this question. You are very right in saying that play time or outdoor play is reducing. In fact, there is a very interesting research on that, Daddy dear, that earlier, if this is the child, then the if the GPS studies were done, so they simply they attached a GPS device to a child and were recording the area that the child covers while going out for play. In our generation, soon after that, when they started doing this exercise, uh, close to 10 years back or even 15 years back, the circle was larger. In just 15 years or so, the circle is getting smaller and smaller. In past 5 years, this circle is even smaller. So that tells you that the child's movement, even when the child is going for outdoor play, is getting restricted. And that's the reality. Now, what do you do? First thing is, parent, dear, you will not like my answer, or I'm not sure if you will like it, but for urban Indian parenting, the biggest challenge that we are facing when children come and talk to us and families come and talk to us, most of the time in urban Indian setup, it is a daddy, it is a mommy, probably a caregiver or some support at home, and then one child. So the biggest challenge that we are facing right now is that parents are stopping at one child. And I know population control industry of India will kill me, but this is actually very detrimental. So I would say, parents, dear, as much as possible, at least go for two children. You create that buddy, you create that play buddy for your child if you have two children at home. So first thing to do as a community is to give children more children around them. A child needs other children. A child actually does not need adults. So I might sound somebody who is actually telling you a very basic fact, but this is very important to know as a community, that when our children are getting restricted time outside, it is very important to give the right kind of exposure at home. And no matter how much you try as adults, simple child psychology, the child needs other children. You cannot become a child to a child if you are an adult. So think on those lines, everybody who is listening to me, my humble request. Another thing that I would say to each one of you is play is a wonderful thing, sports wonderful thing, because the child's mind is alert, active, but not stressed. Alert, active, but not stressed. So the thrill, the dangers that look like to you as dangers might not be dangerous for the child. I enjoy the thrill in it, but I actually know very well when to stop myself, when to stop so that I don't get hurt. Most of the time, children end up protecting themselves while playing. So, my dear parents, in the name of safety, just check yourself. Are you really keeping your child safe, or you are going that extra mile where you are restricting the child's movement? So, I would say, as long as you think your child is able to keep himself or herself safe, allow those things to happen. Children, even when they are fighting with each other, kicking, bumping, trust me, intervene only when you see a real danger. Otherwise, children will sort out their fights and issues among themselves beautifully. Intervene only when it is required. So adults are sometimes when they enter, that's when the child's fight uh, gets dirty. Otherwise, they tend to solve their problems among themselves. So in the name of safety, check your own psyche. It is good to keep your children safe. It is good to be cautious. A stitch in time saves nine, but I would really recommend you to check yourself, that in the name of safety, are you cutting down on the physical exposure that your child should get in childhood? I would really recommend you to understand that children need to have that physical games, the sports around them to grow as a normal human being. A lot of learning, leadership skill, managerial skills are learned when children play in groups. So understand the power of play, understand the significance of play and sports in children's life, and make a calculated decision over here, parents dear. Very good question. Thank you so much for asking that. That allowed me to talk in depth about it. Thank you so much. Okay, how much screen time is too much for a 9 to 10-year-old? uh, Good question, mommy dear. One thing that I will tell you, we do not have exact numbers, mommy, over here. If you ask me, give me number of hours in a day, actually I cannot, because there are no significant studies coming out to us for that. One thing that I can tell you is differentiate between school or education related screen time and entertainment related screen time. And as I was saying, when your child is involved in two-way screen communication, it is fine, it is great. If your child is simply sitting on a couch and watching something which is totally dumb, I think it has to be stopped, right? You need to channelize your child's energy in right direction. But if you ask me in general, what we recommend to you uh, is like close to 20 to 25 hours a week for a 10-year-old is sufficient in terms of screen exposure. But please ensure that you have a good balance between screen time for education and screen time for entertainment. I do not have very clear numbers with me that give 6 hours a day, 4 hours a day. No, there are no studies that give us a precise number to answer your question, mommy dear. But as parents, we need to differentiate between these two kind of screen time, as well as the content that the child is watching. That is far more important than number of hours. Watching something very interesting or watching something which is highly useful for the child, if your child has great interest. For example, I was working with close to 200 plus children of 9 to 10, and you won't believe they had so much of interest, one in solar system, planets around them, and second one was geography. So if your child is into all that and watching a lot of documentaries in that, probably it's not a good idea to stop in between and say, hey, your time is up, you cannot watch anymore. But if your child is simply watching a dumb show, I would say time to stop, that there is no end to it. Hey buddy, you need to check what you are watching. So this is basis my work with the young children, especially in this age group for 9 to 10, mommy dear. I would heavily recommend to you to watch what your child is actually getting exposed to, and then decide on time. Also, do not merge the online schooling time with the entertainment time. I hope you got some answer from this, because trust me, this is not having any precise number to answer. Yep. My kid is 6-year-old, unable to make him sit for online classes for 3 hours daily. Understand this pandemic is new to handle. 6-year-old, right? I think I read it right. Yes, a 6-year-old having 3 hours daily. I'm sure the child must be having some breaks. And if you ask me, if a child is struggling for 3 hours to sit daily, it is a good idea to not force the child to sit. We have seen in most of these cases that even when children are roaming around or going for water break or so, they are still listening to what the teacher is saying. So I would say, do not turn off the screen. Do not say goodbye to the teacher in the middle of the class. You allow the system to be on, and you allow the voices coming out of the system in the surrounding. And you can keep the laptop or the device in a place where it is commonly reached, and then allow your child to roam around and see and do, simply because, trust me, your child is listening. In fact, we have seen another pattern, that more a parent forces the child to sit, the fight gets dirty and dirty. So I would say, please do not force your child. Respect the identity and wish of your child. So take your time. I would not recommend to force. And also, like I said, parent school connect is very important in this time under pandemic. So talk to your child's teacher. This has to be handled very case specific way. So if I have to help you, I really need to get more details from you. You can probably write to me about it. Okay. Is it good to give learning screen time for 20 months old baby boy? Mm, no, no. Mm, I will be honest here. If you have done that, you have committed a crime. So I would say stop it immediately. Uh, See, my friend, most of the times we recommend, even WHO recommends, and all the pediatric associations across globe recommend that until and unless you celebrate the second birthday of your child, no screen time should be given to your child. And I would heavily recommend that to each and every parent who is listening to me here. Till the time you celebrate the second birthday of your child, please do not give a screen to your child. Allow the child to celebrate the second birthday and then start. And even if you think that your child is learning nursery rhymes or dancing or doing so, uh, my dear parent, it is actually a myth that your child is having a great language development if you are allowing your child to remember nursery rhymes or so. Language development happens in two ways. One is memorization and another one is processing. So memorization will not support a processing part of language development. So nursery rhymes or anything that I hear on screen or learn from screen remains more or less for memorization capacities, whereas language development happens through processing. That means I develop my language through 4 steps, LSRW. First, I listen, then I speak, then I read, and at the end I write. LSRW, listen, speak, read, and write. So I would say rather than showing shows to your child or asking the child to remember nursery rhymes or playing nursery rhymes for the child, why don't you talk to your child? Why don't you sing songs to your child? Let your child listen from you rather than from TV or mobile. Allow your child to talk to you rather than talking to a dumb screen, and then enter into reading with your child, and finally your child will write. So I'm not sure whether you liked my answer or not, but I would like to stay honest here. I'm sorry, but thank you so much for asking this question so honestly. Okay, we have last 2 minutes before we say goodbye to each other, parent dear. Last question is about eyes for online screening, how to overcome it. I would say please understand that blue light filter is something that most of the parents are using nowadays. So I would heavily recommend you to check your devices, and if you have not done that, I would heavily recommend to do that for your children. Blue light filter is present in most of the devices nowadays. It's a good idea to do that. The YTW that I told you, the exercise that you told, that I showed to you, I will do it again. Y, then T, then W is something that you really need to be aware of. And this will help in giving the eyes the right kind of movements and breaks from the online classes. Closing the eyes, and train your children to use 2 fingers, put it on the eyes and press it gently. This is also helping children a lot across globe. This is being trained to children. I do that with my children too. Put the fingers on the eyes and press it gently. It should help you. Thank you so much, everybody, for beautiful feedback. Thanks so much. I did not realize that 1 hour is over already. And I'm so thankful to each one of you for joining. A big thanks coming from me. And please do write back to us saying what you liked about this session. Thank you so much for your kind words, everybody. Thank you so very much. I am so thankful and privileged to hear that you found it interesting and useful. Please do use these tips in your real life and tell me whether it worked or not. Thank you so very much, and happy parenting to each one of you. Bye-bye, everyone.